Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asad Yaqub and I welcome you all from my IELTS class. And I thought that today there should be a seminar, and I requested my students to allow me for the seminar because we were doing listening and we had a day for listening. So then I thought, we should change the plan a little, and now here I am in front of you. So I'll give you a couple of minutes because I've just come online and you are going to join this seminar. This is going to be a seminar of around 40 to 50 minutes, and I will take your questions as well because it's the IELTS seminar. I'll take your questions. If you got any question, you can ask me and I would love to answer your questions, right? So in general, we are going to talk about IELTS listening, reading, writing, speaking, and whatever. You can ask me the questions. If you got question about speaking, about listening, about reading, about writing, you can ask me any question. I would read your questions and I would answer, right? So should we start? Yes. Yeah, say yes loudly. Yes. Again. Yes. Alright, now at least you guys know that there are students sitting here, and I've noticed one thing. Although on Facebook when I'm live, I've got the feeling that you guys are watching me, but when people are sitting in front of me physically, then I am charged and I'm active and alert, and I know, yes, now there are some people in front of me. And by the way, my energy depends on my students' energy. I remember once I was sitting in the office feeling lazy and low, lacking energy and all that. The time I entered the class was full of students, and I don't know from where the energy came in me, and I was active and alert at that time. So guys, your energy is going to be shown in me, and I'll be energetic as well. So far I can see a lot of likes and hearts and all that. Thank you very much indeed. So now we are on the same pace. So should we start with listening? Yes. Yeah? Yes. Can anybody tell me what sort of problem are you facing in listening? You come here please, so that your voice goes to the audience as well. Okay, you've got a problem with listening.
Yes. Sir, sometimes when we listening, the word is repeated again and again. 9 o'clock, no, 8 o'clock, there is a bit of confusion.
Okay, I got your question.
Should be removed.
I got your question. What's your full name?
Sayyid Rashid.
Sayyid Rashid has asked a question that in listening, sometimes they repeat first 9 o'clock, then they say no, it's not 9 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock. Then they come back to 9 o'clock. Alright. Well, listen, in IELTS listening and in IELTS reading, in two modules, there are the traps. You got to understand what is a trap. This is very, very important thing. Many students don't know about the traps. I'll take the Facebook questions later and I'll tell you, right? Don't worry about it. I'll take all the questions one by one and then I'll tell you. So we've got the traps in listening and in reading. And because of traps, many students are unable to decide whether it's the right answer or it's the trap. In reading also they do this. In reading there is a type of questions that is called list of headings. In list of headings there are 2 or 3 headings extra. So for those 2 or 3 extra headings, they have put some trap sentences in the passage so that you read that sentence, okay, iski heading ye hogi and all that, right? And same is the case in listening. With the right answer, they will give you the wrong answer so that they confuse you and they test your ability whether you can find the right information from the wrong one as well or not. So that is why this thing is happening. So all you need to do, the first thing is you need to be aware of the traps. Whenever you find your answer, you got to see, is this the right answer or is this sort of a trap, right? And if you, and that happens when you are expert in reading, expert in listening. And don't even take a second to change your answer in listening. For example, you are doing listening and they are telling you something, well, the time decided was 9 o'clock, but then there was a little change, but after that the decision was 9 o'clock. So means you are listening and understanding and all that stuff, right? So this is they change their opinion, right? whatever it is going to be, that is one of the things, right? So you need to see the difference between trap and the right answer, then you'll be able to overcome that. Now guys, I claim that through this video I'll tell you about band score 8. Now the first thing is, you need to make up your mind that I'm going to get 8 bands in IELTS. It should not be a hollow plan. See, sometimes you can have a hollow plan as well. What band score do you require? 8 bands, right? I received a call, and there was a guy from Punjab, right? And the guy, there was a lady from Punjab. I'm sorry if she's gonna watch it, she's gonna kill me. But she said, "मैं 6 bands लेनी है," right? Or somewhere some people say 7 bands लेनी है. 7.5 आ जान ते बड़ी चंगी गल है, 7 बैंडां लेनियां, like that, okay? I mean, listen up. The first thing is, when you want to get the band, you need to say the band score you want in a reasonable way. Like you can say, I want 7.5 bands, right? And it's IELTS, it's not IELTS. I hear a lot of people saying IELTS. It's not IELTS, actually it's IELTS. Right? So you got to just first say IELTS and then band score. Now you got to decide, well guys, I just need one thing. If you are on Facebook and you join me live on Facebook, please send a message so that I understand you are there. Because you know, at times I see my own students on Facebook, so please send a message. Instead of likes, send a message, and that message is going to be your attendance as well, and I'll get to know that you guys are watching me. So send a message, just write hi or hello or assalamu alaikum, whatever you want to write, please send a message so that I could see you. Oh, anyways, now thing is this, you got to first decide a higher band, the first thing, and second, you need to be fully determined that this is the band I need to get, and I'm fully determined to get that band score, and whatever it takes, I will do it. See, this sentence, whatever it takes, I will do it, is the most important one. Now what happens? You decide that you need to get a higher band, but then what happens? The study plans are very weak, they are very hollow plans. You're not giving enough time, and you're saying I'm busy so I can't do it. Then you will not be able to get the higher bands. Sometimes you have in mind, okay, even if I get 6 bands, it's okay, but I tell everybody I want to get 8 bands. So you need to see what is the requirement and try to set your target 1 band more than the requirement. If you require, and in IELTS, let me tell you, on this forum I'm telling you, there is a proof of that thing as well, that in IELTS at times the IELTS authorities also play with you by just giving you low bands when they understand that this candidate, now for example, if you appear IELTS in 2nd time, 3rd time, they have all your record. They have your record with them. Now they understand that this candidate needs 7 each or 6.5 each, and then you always get low bands in one module. Then you repeat IELTS. You repeat 2nd time, you again get low bands in one module, then you do it 3rd time. And I know people who have taken IELTS 10 times as well. 10 times means they're giving a very good business to IELTS people. So there is a long article I read about that Cambridge University should see, because they are making money out of IELTS, and people are stuck with IELTS and they are doing all that. So anyways, I've just told you this thing. This is based on some research. So since the beginning, you need to start your preparation for a higher band score, and you got to see, I mean, for example, if it is listening, you know, in order to get a good bands in listening, for example, if your target band is 8, how many correct answers do you need in listening? 35. Almost 35 correct answers out of 40. So when you are doing the practice test, now don't even waste the practice tests. What do? We take one practice test. We get, for example, 15 correct answers, 20 correct answers. Then we take another practice test. Then we take another practice test. You got to take the same practice test until you get 40. 40 out of 40. Do it first time, right? Then do it 2nd time. Then do it 3rd time. Do it 4th time. By repeating the practice test, what actually you are doing, you are practicing your listening. When you listen to the same audio 2nd time, you will understand. For example, in the first attempt, if you understand 40%, 2nd attempt you will understand 60%, 3rd attempt you will understand 80%, 4th attempt you will understand 100%, right? So you need to repeat this, and your ears will also get used to it, right? Your ears must be trained. I mean, for English, you need to train your ears for that. So if in the practice tests you guys are getting almost 35, 36, 37, and your target band is 8, then you can go for that, right? And if your target band is 7, then it should be around 32, 33, something like that. And practice test, again I'm telling you, don't just waste the practice test. Now for example, you've taken one practice test, you got 25, now you say, okay, I'll take another one. No, 15 answers you missed. Now first of all, you need to find those 15 answers, right? Listen to it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whatever it is. And by the way, don't just, when you are preparing for IELTS, don't say I don't have time. At times students come to me and they are always rushing, and I have seen those who are rushing to IELTS, they never get their required band. They are always moving here and there, one institute, and they're looking for that secret tip. कोई secret tip मिल जाए जिससे इतना band आ जाए and all that. So they're looking for the secret tip. So there is no secret tip. Actually the tip is struggle. You need to work hard, you need to prepare, and you need to just go ahead with that, right? Even I give the tips, but I don't give any secret tips. But I was thinking to make some secret tips just to please you, right? Like some IELTS trainers, they make 2-3 secret tips, and then they say, well, if you join my class, then I'll give you more tips. So I'm not actually doing like that. So this is about listening, and you got to see, you need to locate your problem in listening. Now for example, when you do listening, where do you have more mistakes?
Oh, definitely I have more mistakes when they speak in fast, they speak fast, and they speak sometimes synonym of the answer they are given in the MCQ question or in the blanks.
Okay.
So they use synonyms, or they speak very fastly and rapidly, and in the way that I cannot understand that.
Okay.
It will definitely make me to make mistake.
Alright. Now see, he's pointed out his problem, and he knows that I've got the problem with the use of synonym, and I've got the problem when there is section 4, the audio is very fast. So then you need to practice more and more with that very thing and that very section. I mean, if you are fine with section 1 and section 2, okay. Now take some practice test and focus on section 3, focus on section 4, and do another thing. First time do it, see out of 10 in section 3, how many answers are correct. For example, out of 10, if 5 are correct, now you got to see what 5 answers are incorrect. Then you got to see what question type is that. Means कौन सी किस्म का question है जिसमें मेरी गलतियां ज़्यादा हो रही हैं. Then you got to see the nature of your mistakes. What is the nature of your mistakes? I've got a student, he's from New Zealand, and he's getting correct answers like sometimes 21, 22 and all that. I asked him what are the mistakes. He said there are some spelling mistakes. I said if you ignore spelling mistakes, and if there is a spelling mistake but you mark it correct, then how many are correct? Then he said 26, 27. So his problem is not listening. His problem is with the spelling. So he's got to. So the most important, and let me tell you, nobody else will do it for you. I will not do it for you. Right? Nobody else. You will do it for yourself. So remember, when you are preparing for IELTS, you are the IELTS candidate. You are the teacher of yourself as well. When the British Council, I was doing my English language course, there was a trainer, Robert, he was a director of British Council as well. He said this sentence, I still remember, he said, you are the best teacher of yourself. So when you are preparing for IELTS, I mean, you got to, for example, you are teaching yourself. Did you ever do this thing, you're talking to yourself? I often do it. Yeah. Even if it looks crazy, but I often talk to myself and all that. So you need to talk to yourself, and you got to see, okay, what sort of mistakes are there, what is the nature of the mistake, and then out of 40 questions, how many mistakes are occurring, and once you locate the portion where you have the mistakes, then you can easily overcome that. So in listening, you can easily get to know about your band score. It's not difficult. I mean, after one test, check your answers, and then you know what is your band score, right? Any other problem with listening? Yes, please. Okay, now you've got the problem with multiple choice. Whenever you do listening, multiple choice is actually disturbing you or bothering you. Okay, no problem. Well, listen. In multiple choice, what I have noticed, the problem is this: when there is a question type multiple choice, there is a statement and then there are 3 options, right? And multiple choice can come anywhere, in section 1, in section 2, in section 3 or in section 4. But the nature is different. If multiple choice comes in section 1, the 3 options are very simple, like $10, $15, $20. If it comes in section 1, because section 1 is the easiest one. If it comes in section 4, then there is a statement, and down there the other statements, they are long enough. So what you need to do, if it comes in section 3 and section 4, there you've got a lot of mistakes actually in section 3 or section 4. There you only need to read the main statement. And in the main statement, I told this thing to you guys as well, whenever you read the questions, don't read prepositions, don't read articles, because these words don't convey. The main thing in the sentence is the verb. The main thing is the verb. Then there can be the noun that tells more about it. Then there can be the adjective. So there are three things whenever in multiple choice you are reading the question, because in multiple choice, reading the question, understanding the question and retaining the question. Now what is retaining? Means you remember the question, right? So reading, understanding and retaining, that is important. So what you need to do, just don't read. Prepare yourself mentally that I will only look at the verb, adjective, noun, subject, verb, object. Just miss all the prepositions and articles and all that. And once you do this, now when the audio is going on, they will talk about all three options. Actually what happens, they are going to talk about all three options and then they are going to approve one of those. So you got to just go ahead again when you're going through the options, only in the options see what are the most important words. And these words can be the verbs, can be adjectives, or they can be adverbs, prepositions are not important by the way, just three things. So if your eyes will only, for example, there is a long sentence, I want to drink a glass of water. I want to drink a glass of water. It's a long sentence, and if you only focus drink water, you can understand. It is all clear, you can understand that. So options you need to minimize. And one more thing, you should develop another skill and you can practice that. Sometimes some ladies, they are working in the kitchen, at the background music on, that sometimes, but now we got mobile, multitasking. Now the mobiles are there. I remember one of my cousins, it was her habit even before marriage that she used to work in the kitchen with the radio on. That time the radios were there, so radio was on and she was working in the kitchen. On the radio there could be songs, there could be news, there could be anything. So she is working but she is also concentrating, paying attention what's happening.
It's same like we are driving, same as we are listening to music on our handpiece or either one.
Yeah, like that. So for IELTS listening, you need to develop an ability. And what is that ability? That at the same time you are listening and you are reading and you are writing. Listening, reading and writing, because you got to write as well.
Sir, I think the most difficult is the module of because at the same time we are doing four things.
Yes, we are doing
reading, writing, and also retaining.
That's right. Now, I tell you. I mean, that's what you need to practice. And in section 3 and 4, they need to check that very caliber. So all you need to do, you can practice. For example, start any audio with the help of your hand free and listen to it and pick up a book. And now you got to see, audio is 5 minutes audio and you got to see, okay, I will listen to the audio and read the book also. Let's see what happens. Okay, you will retain some portion of the book, you will retain some portion of the audio and all that. But you need to do this practice. Okay, actually it's just not the test of English. IELTS is just not the test of English, and I'm sure, okay, you guys, how do you feel? Your native language is Urdu, right? If IELTS test is given to you in Urdu language, right? Reading module in Urdu, writing module in Urdu, listening module in Urdu, speaking module in Urdu, you will get 9 out of 9 in listening because your listening is good. You will get 9 out of 9 in speaking because your speaking is good. But if somebody is really somebody from Urdu literature, he will not give you 9 out of 9 for your spoken Urdu. He will find a lot of mistakes in your spoken Urdu and all that. But then in writing, you will never get 9 out of 9. Did you ever get 100% marks in Urdu?
No.
Never, okay? You never got 100% marks in Urdu. So even the not native speakers of English, native speakers, even if they take IELTS test, they will not get 9 out of 9 because the native speakers can have the problem with punctuation. In writing, there should be proper punctuation. You do Urdu. In Urdu we call it Arab. You never do proper Arab anywhere, right? So there can be mistakes in there, right? And then there can be the mistakes in typical language, right? So these are few things which you need to consider for actually listening module if you're going weak somewhere. Okay, now after listening, the next module, which is a troublesome module, that is Reading, yes, okay. Let me drink some water. Now, what happens in reading? Mainly, we don't read English regularly. How many of you guys read English regularly, or you have subscribed some English magazines, or you read English newspaper on a daily basis?
I just read English subtitle in the movies.
Okay, he reads subtitled in English movies. Or the other day I came across this quotation. Somebody said, I love reading and my favorite book is Facebook. I love reading and my favorite book is Facebook. So if you say, oh, I do a lot of reading, acha ji, where? On WhatsApp I read, on Facebook I read and all that. But that reading is different. I mean, you're reading a sentence, or basically you got to see what is the context of that thing which you are reading. What's the context? For example, if you're watching movies and you're reading the subtitle, to some extent it will help you. But it will not help you to a larger extent, because in the movies there's the dialogue. In IELTS reading, if you are academic IELTS candidate, in IELTS reading there are passages, right? I would say the word monster passages, okay? They are like the monsters, right? And I've got a friend, he is an IELTS trainer. When I wanted to become an IELTS teacher, I went to him for guidance. His name is Zulfkar Ali Awan. He is teaching in YMCA and Peak Solutions College. So he usually says this thing that in IELTS reading, in passages, there are certain words even the native speakers don't know the meaning of those words. Right?
So generally the readings, there are three passages. The passage is away from text.
Okay, where do you take the passages from? I can quote you a very good example of one of...
Generally and usually.
Okay, I can quote you a good example of one of my students. I started teaching IELTS and a student came and he got 9 out of 9 in academic reading.
Absolutely.
It was surprising. It was astonishing for me, and I said, well, you got 9 out of 9 in reading. What's the reason? And you know, whenever somebody gets a very good bench score, I don't give myself the credit. I mean, it's not because of me. If it is because of me, then everybody should get 9 out of 9. If somebody gets a low bench score, even I don't take any credit. It's your fault. It's because of you. It's not because of me. So I don't take the credit of the best bench score, and I don't take the credit of the worst bench score, right? I only say I teach and all that, and I don't give any guarantee of any bench score and all that. So he got 9 out of 9. That surprised me, and then I asked him, how did you manage to get 9 out of 9? And then he told me that reading is my hobby, and I read regularly these journals, magazines, newspapers. And the surprising thing, he said, sir, in my IELTS test, in reading exam, the passage that came, I had already read that passage in a magazine. Now see, you read a passage in a magazine, and in your IELTS test you got the same passage. It shows you've got extensive reading, and he got 9 out of 9. So the thing is, the bottom line is, first you need to focus on your reading skill. Reading means understanding. Now sometimes what happens, you read a paragraph and you're reading very well. Initially, the students, when they come to IELTS class and they have no knowledge about IELTS, they think they have to read something. In reading, they think that, okay, we'll have to read something, but actually it's a reading comprehension. So all you need to do, what happens, we read a paragraph and we read very confidently. When the paragraph is finished, we look up and mentally we are blank. We don't remember anything, we don't understand anything, and then we go back and say, huh? What happens? We say, huh? There's huh in our face, and then we read again and all that stuff. So the thing is, now one more thing. You need to pay full attention when you are reading. I've noticed another thing, we don't pay full attention when we are reading. This happens. What's happening? You are reading, still your mind is somewhere, right? And there is the noise as well, and you are thinking about something. What you need to do when you read, you need to develop this thing, you need to read and imagine. Read and imagine. Now for example, let me tell you how does the human brain work. All of you are here, and even if you're watching me on Facebook, you can do this exercise as well. And later I'm going to put this video on YouTube as well, so that all the other participants of IELTS, they could get benefit from that. Now, what happens, your brain actually thinks in images. If I ask you a question, now look at me and let's see. All of you, please, don't think about a beautiful white cat. Don't think about a beautiful white cat. Don't think about the cat, okay? Don't think about a beautiful white cat with red eyes. Don't think. Now what is your brain doing? Yeah, you started seeing the cat and said, don't think, and again you are thinking, right? Now, so this is how the human brain works. What you need to do when you are reading something, first when you read the title, switch on your imagination. Okay, now let me tell you how can you switch on your imagination, all of you sitting here. Think about a beautiful restaurant. Think about a beautiful restaurant. Tables are laid, right? And the utensils are on the table, waiters. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Right now, imagine a forest with zebras. Imagine a forest with zebras, and all the zebras are walking together in a herd. Can you imagine that? Right? So if you can imagine, when you listen to something, when you read, you need to put your mind actually. Right? You need to put, although I understand the topics are of scientific nature, the topics are based on science and all that. The other day I was preparing for a video. There was a passage about zebras. Now what did I do? I started imagining. In that passage they were telling about zebras, that they live together. There are 7 to 8 zebras in one group, and they have their loyalty with that group. Other groups are separate, and then they live together. That is called a herd. In one herd there are these many zebras. They have to travel this many kilometers. I was imagining all that, and that's why I'm telling you the story. So you need to put your imagination in IELTS reading. Each word you need to imagine. And one more thing, when you are doing the practice test, you should have a pencil or pen or ballpoint in your hand. For example, when you are scanning. Now in scanning what happens? Now for example, if you go to a big superstore, a big shopping mall, and there are the shelves, all the shelves are there, can you imagine? You should have strong imagination, right? There are the shelves over there, and I say, I give you a minute. Have you seen in Lahore we've got Hyperstar? Hyperstar is such a big superstore, right? So you are in Hyperstar and you don't know where what is. There are no tags around. And I say, you've got to find biscuits. Where are the biscuits? Now what will you do? You will run quickly. Here, there. Just forget about the tags. No tags. You don't know where the tags are. There are no tags. And you will look here, there, in that shelf. No, there. By the time you reach biscuits, you will have crossed many other items. Right? For example, you come here, say cooking oil, no, not cooking oil. Over there, oh, that's the chips, no, not the chips. Okay, there, that's the milk, no, not the milk. And next time when I say, where is milk? So I know where the milk is, I know. I saw it somewhere. When I was looking for biscuits, I saw milk. That is only possible when you are going to underline the important details. When you are scanning quickly, don't just wait. Move the pen. For example, and you should know what to underline. Don't underline all the passage. Okay? Then you underline all the passage and then you say, okay, then there is nothing important. And 2-3 things. One is underlining, somewhere you can underline, somewhere you can put brackets, somewhere you can put circle. And you should know if there is a date, right, you can underline the date. If there is the name, a proper noun, you can encircle the proper noun, and examiners will not stop you for that. You can do anything you want to. If so, you need to decide that this information I will underline, this information I will encircle, name of the scientist, a date, name of the place, and all that. You need to do that. Now, after doing first question, when you do the next question, immediately it will hit you that I read about it somewhere. And if you underline, then you can easily reach there. And let me tell you, when you start reading the first 4 or 5 questions, we call it the set of questions. For example, true, false, not given, one set of questions. Fill in the blanks, sentence completion, one set of questions. When you do one set of questions, mean the first set of questions. When you are doing the second one, you are familiar with the passage. Right? For example, if one superstore, I asked you to get biscuits, to get milk, to get cooking oil, now you are familiar. Now you know where what is. So the next questions are going to be easier for you. If first question takes 1.5 minutes, for example, the last question will take few seconds. Right? So you need to read like that. Now there is another thing, although the types of questions they are different. Do you have any question about reading at the moment? If you want to ask, I'm talking, so I need to just see if there is a question, or shall I go on as I'm explaining? Okay, so in IELTS reading section, 1 is easy. In section 1, you know what happens? You got to find the words exactly as they are given. You got to pick the words from there, and section 1 is the easy one because they got to give you the band score up to 3 and all that, right? Then when you move on to section 2 and section 3, there you need to read, you need to make up your mind about that very thing, and then you got to decide. Now you don't need to look for the word. In section 1, you will look for the word for the answer. In section 2, maybe somewhere words. But in section 3, you got to read. After reading, you got to think, make up your mind, and then you got to go back to the question and see what do they say. Questions like true, false, not given. Then we've got list of headings. Then the questions like which paragraph contains the following information. These type of questions. So they're your good ability. So that's why try to get rid of section 1 as early as possible. Work quickly. Section 1 is over. Then section 2. There you can spend a little more time, and section 3 will take most of your time, right? And one more thing, it's only the tip in case of emergency. In case of emergency, for example, time is running out, only 1 minute left, and you know your question true, false, not given is left, right? And you cannot do it, and you don't want to leave it. Remember, in IELTS there is no negative marking. So if there is true, false, not given, 5 questions. What will you mark? All, without considering the paragraph or the passage. True or false or not given?
True.
All true?
Sir, true, first true, the second two is false. One
That's
is
the wrong strategy.
not.
I tell you.
Yes.
Okay, listen. If the question type is true, false, not given, and you have only 1 minute left, you cannot consult the passage. Don't do this thing, okay, first one true, second false, third not given, fourth this and that. This is how chances are you will get more wrong answers. Remember, if there are 5 questions, mostly out of those 5 questions, true are most. Maximum they can be 2 true questions, or they can be 3. Not given are just few. Not given are very few.
Yes,
true are many. Yes. So you need to choose between true or false or yes or no. All true, at least 2 or 3 will be correct. All false, at least 2 or 3 will be correct. So sometimes, but sometimes if you got a bad luck, then not given are more. Okay, so that might happen. But this is only in case of emergency. For example, if it is ABC, you can write all A, all B, all C, something like that, right? But this is only in case of emergency, if the time is running out, because in IELTS there isn't anything like negative marking. So there is no negative marking, so you don't have to worry about that. Do all the tests and all that. Is it okay about reading? Now let's go ahead, we talk about writing, huh? Okay, let me drink some water. Now, as far as writing is concerned, before coming to IELTS class, I'm asking you a question. Before coming to IELTS class, how many times did you write English regularly?
Just in paper.
Just in papers?
And sometimes I numbers.
Okay, just in papers. Otherwise, you don't write English. So when you come to IELTS class and you come across IELTS writing, and then you want to get good bands, and then you don't know what to do. And remember one thing, there are 2 methods of learning anything. One is direct method, one is indirect method. Direct method is, if you want to improve your writing, you need to start with grammar, vocabulary, punctuation, spelling, things like that. Indirect method is, remember this quotation, good readers are the good writers. Good readers are the good writers, right? And there are many people, see in the newspaper there are many columnists, they are writing the columns. There are many book writers. Now, do you think the book writers got training on how to write books? Their only training is through reading. When you read English regularly, actually the grammar rules, punctuation rules, when you read actually, when you are reading with careful analysis, for example, if there is a comma, you see why this comma is here. If there is a sentence structure in past, you see why would is used here. This is called careful analysis. If you read with careful analysis, reading will automatically develop your writing skill. But the thing we are missing. Now, another thing, I know there are many good readers, but they are not good writers. Yes, I know many good readers. I know a lot of people, they read regularly, but they are not good writers. Why? Because they don't practice. Writing is a skill that needs practice. Now you read English every day, you read for 5 hours, but you don't write a single word. If you don't write a single word, you can never learn it. I mean, you can never develop your writing skills. So for writing, the most important thing is read, carefully analyze and read standard English, English of native speakers. Don't read non-native speakers, don't just read the newspaper, and you need to read the long articles. In the newspaper, even on Sundays, we've got some articles. You can read those articles. You should read them and then do one thing. Read one article and then summarize it in your own words. Now, when you're going to summarize it in your own words, then you will use some sentences from there, some sentence structure from there. Or you can do this thing. I do this exercise in my class also. Select one small news from English newspaper about anything. A very small news up to 50 or 60 words, and then rewrite in your own words. And then compare your writing with that writing and see what sort of things are there. So when you're going to do this type of matching, indirectly you will improve your writing. I know a guy, he wrote his articles and his articles were published in Dawn newspaper. He's my student. Right now it's not surprising my student cannot reach Dawn newspaper. You can reach that, okay? Don't be surprised. But it surprised me as well because the English qualification he got, that was up to graduation. Right, not more than that. What did he do? He was a regular reader of articles. He read many articles, and one day he started writing and he wrote an article and he sent it to Dawn people, and with some editing, because they have the proofreaders and all that, with some editing they published. So they published because it was up to the mark, up to the standard. Do you know one thing? Native English speakers, when they write books, they send their books for proofreading and mistake reading. Do you know that? The native speakers, those who are from America, from Britain, when they write a book. Now we've got this Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. Now do you think J.K. Rowling writes a book and it is printed? No. It goes for proofreading. And many, even in Urdu language. In Urdu language, many people write books and then they send the books for proofreading. And there they put the commas or dash, and if there is any mistake of sentence and all that stuff, right? So you need to just go ahead, read, and that will improve your writing. Now, you got to see what do you have to write. You have to write an essay for IELTS writing task 2. You have to write a letter for IELTS writing task 1, and you've got to write a report. In order to improve your report writing skills, it's a good idea to read about bar charts, pie charts, flow charts, process diagrams, and all that stuff. And you can find this information in the financial page of the newspaper. Do you know newspaper has got a business page? And there is a newspaper like Business Recorder. It's all about business. Wherever you see any bar, any pie chart, any bar, any line graph, read about that. And that will develop your skill. And then you can, for example, if you read about currency, about the fluctuation in currency, dollar, euro, pound, and all that. So you can read about that. It's exactly what you need to write in IELTS, right? And for letter writing, you need to have strong imagination, number 1. Number 2, for letter writing, there is a list of sentences. And they use the same sentences over and over again. In business writing, business letter writing, there is a set of sentences and these sentences are used over and over again. So learn those sentences, make up a story, and fit those sentences in your story. And what are the sentences? How to give information, how to get information, how to make a request, how to apologize for something, how to complain. In your letters you are doing the same thing, right? And as far as essay is concerned, yes, for essay you need knowledge. For essay, first you need good knowledge, then you need good language knowledge, then you will be able to do that. But if you are a regular reader, you will have the knowledge. And do another thing, just go to Google and find the specimen essay, letter and report for band score 9, right? So band score 9, you can see, okay, this letter got 9 bands, this essay and letter or this essay and report got 9 bands. Now what is special about it? And believe me, when you read 9 bands essay, 9 bands letter, 9 bands report, you will not see any golden thing or any diamond thing in that. You'll say it's just generally and normally written, simply written. Okay, so you need to copy that very style. You need to just see how that is written, how that is according to the topic and all that stuff, right? And finally, we'll talk about speaking before we finish. Nothing beats practice. You need to speak English. as far as you're doing IELTS, as long as you're doing IELTS, try to speak English most of the time. Try to find someone who is going to speak English with you. Try to express yourself in English. Find a friend, or now we've got this WhatsApp. So if you've got a relative who lives abroad, you can talk to them. Try to ask them that to ask you general things in English. So you need to practice. The first thing is practice. The second is the type of questions they are going to ask you in IELTS speaking. Go through all the questions in advance. And a list of questions is already given in your IELTS books. That is also given in your, with the practice test, we've got the list of questions and all that. So if I ask you your hobby and you answer my question, if anybody asks you your hobby second time, will it be difficult to answer or easy to answer? Easy to answer, because you already answered that question. If I say, what's your favorite dish? Today you think and you say, okay, my favorite dish is, and then you answer. But next time whenever somebody asks you what's your favorite dish, you will answer without thinking. That is why if somebody asks you your name, you don't think. If you ask me what's your name, I will not think, is it Rashid or Akram or Asad? What was my name? I think it's Asad. Maybe initially it's difficult, but I have answered my name many times. Every day people call me, right, using my name, so I don't need to worry about that. So what you need to do, all the questions of IELTS speaking should be like the question, what is your name? If all the questions are like that, the examiner will start asking a question and you would know what's the answer, and then you will start your answer. Remember, for IELTS speaking, do not learn the answers. Do not cram the answers. For writing as well. For writing and speaking, do not cram the answers. Do not try to get the answers by heart, because the examiners, and even I can do that, and you can even do that. If somebody is giving you the answer and you know the answer is crammed, right, or the answer is he's got that answer by heart, you can easily understand that. How? That person will repeat the sentence. For instance, if I say, I'm telling you the story of thirsty crow, and I say, once upon a time there was a crow and the crow was thirsty, and then I look here and there, and then means I'm recalling. By the time the examiner understands that you are recalling in your IELTS speaking test, your band score will go down. Whatever you speak will not be given any bands. And you'll be very happy, I gave a beautiful answer. My answer was such a lovely answer, but you'll not get any band score. And same is the case in writing. Now sometimes, you know what some IELTS trainers do? They make a complete essay and then they say fill in the blanks with the topic. Whatever the topic is, you write this essay, fill in the blanks with the topic sentence, and you will get a good band score. You never get a good band score. By the time examiner understands that this is that, fill in the... Do you know, when you were in class 8, 9, 10, there was one essay? Yeah, learn one essay or 20 essays automatically ho jayenge and all that. So if you're going to do that, that is not going to help you. By the time examiner, that's why, and it's better to write in your... Even if your English is pathetic, I'm sorry, even if your English is pathetic, but it's a good idea to write in that very English. I've seen one of my students, he got 6.5 bands in writing, and he appeared in IELTS recently and he told me about his writing band score 6.5, and still I'm surprised, how did he get 6.5? Surprised, you know what, not surprised on the higher side, I'm surprised on the lower side, that I never saw anything of 6.5 bands in his writing. I tried to tell him, but he didn't listen to me, he didn't follow me, but still he got 6.5 band. So let me tell you, for 7 bands, you don't need a very high caliber, right? So the mistakes are actually where you are cramming or where you are not following the topic and all that. At least few things are in your hand. Your English style, maybe if it is not in your hand, okay, that's one thing, but the understanding of the topic is in your hand. Writing exactly on the topic, that is in your hand. Writing 250 words, that is in your hand. So there are so many things, if you take care of that, because you know they've got 4 criteria, that is task achievement, grammatical range and accuracy and all that stuff. So if you try to meet 3 areas, still you can get a higher bands in writing. Okay, so now I'll take some questions on Facebook. If you've got any question, you can ask me and then we are going to finish. Thank you very much for your smileys and hearts and everything. 50 people have reacted to this video so far. Okay, no problem, more will react. Thank you very much. Who is this who's making a lot of likes, huh? Good, thank you. I can't see the name, but thank you very much indeed. We are coming towards the end of this session. And one more thing, I would request Shumaila to put my WhatsApp number in case if you guys want to know further about IELTS. We've got the IELTS preparation course material as well. You can get that, and I teach IELTS online as well. If you want to get online IELTS classes, for that you can contact. My WhatsApp number will be written in the comments. Shumaila is going to write that in the comments. You can find my WhatsApp number, so you can directly contact me on WhatsApp. If you've got any question, how could I enhance my writing skills? Muhammad Zishan in Punjabi we say sari raat ronde reh gaye te marya koi bhi na. I just told about writing skill, about improving the writing skill. So I think you should watch this live session once again. I've given valuable tips about writing, so you should watch this session again, and you got to follow my instructions on writing, so you'll be just doing that. Do we have any other question? Alright, so that's all. Thank you very much indeed. I'm thankful to you all for listening to me. On Facebook it could be something different. Maybe you would be listening to me with a cup of tea, cup of coffee, but I really take pity on my students who are sitting right in front of me, and they were listening to me. Just they had only one option, that they had to listen to me. So that's all. Thank you very much. If you've got any queries, you can contact me, and Allah Hafiz.